Hi, this is Joseph Guagenti with KB1Pro, and today we are going to cover the KB1 web services for SAP Business One, and we're going to cover getting items. So this will be an items demo for retrieving information from SAP through a web service. So let's get started. Let me share my screen. And when we set up the web services, we will have you will have your own directory in which you retrieve web services either through a virtual directory or a directory that's defined within inside of your IIS or through a port. But this is all flavors that the client can choose as to how they want to set it up. So let's take a look at the web services themselves. So here we can see that once we go to our virtual directory or our directory for our web services, we're prompted with a screen that shows the services or the operations that are available. Now we'll be supporting XML, JSON, JSV, and CSV as the types of formats to return data in. We're not really going to focus in on SOAP and SOAP calls at all, unless someone comes to us and asks that they really need that to be supported. So let's get started. So if we take a look at a service that we have or an operation that we had defined for consumption by an external source, to retrieve information. So let's take the items themselves. We have ways to filter out or deliver more data or less data depending on what the service needs to retrieve so that they can process or update their tables online when it comes to items. These are the additional parameters that we're able to pass. So the select data config is there's an add-on that goes along with the web services that resides within inside the SAP GUI. Now this will allow you to configure the data that you want to deliver to the caller so that they can consume it within inside of their application. Some of the things that you can define within inside of the configuration or the select data configuration are the fields from the SAP tables that you want to deliver to the consuming web service. So you'll be able to select, define which ones are mandatory that you want to deliver. So these can be user-defined fields as well. So and we'll do that in a different demo. We'll demonstrate the add-on at a later date, where it can show you that you can select the fields within inside of SAP that you want to deliver to the service call. So by using the select data configuration, you will be allowed to have multiple ways of delivering the data to the requester. In some cases, you might want to deliver the price list and other user-defined fields. And in some cases, you may just want to deliver the item and the warehouse code information, the quantity that's on hand. So that that can all be done through the configuration. So we have things like, you can request just the single item code or a search by a barcode. Filters is a powerful way of creating a pseudo-like select statement that you want to retrieve data from the items table. So it might be like where my user-defined field equals yes or is greater than 0 or is less than 0. So the filters gives you the power to create your own select statements to retrieve data from SAP. And it is just like SQL in that respect, except for what we do is on the command line, you need to qualify what it is or that you're trying to retrieve, like if it's less than or greater than or equal to in this type of format here. So greater than, less than, equal to, is null, like, and then like if you want to use a percentage sign, you use percent, because on the URL itself, things like question marks, percent signs are all, you know, web-driven type of URL information that you can put on there, and we don't want to confuse the URL with a specific request that we're making or a specific type of filter that we're trying to use on our select statement. And I'll go through that. So, you know, some of the ones that we've already included are, for simplicity, is stuff like sale item, inventory item, purchase item, you know, create date from to. So those are ones that we use to kind of filter out the data. Now, in addition to that, we also then include ways to retrieve additional information, such as like include the warehouse quantities, or include the price lists, include the batches, include serial numbers, alternative items, if it's a bill of materials, to include the BOM along with that. Include barcodes, because in an SAP you can have multiple barcodes associated with an individual item, but at the header level of the item code or the item table is only one barcode defined. And then include unit of measurement conversions. So, and there will be additional ones that we'll probably add as we see a need for that information to be passed. So that kind of gives you an overview of the items and the perimeters that you can pass to the web services to retrieve information. So let's give an example. So let's just go ahead and this web services that we have here gives a nice way of, you know, just go ahead and select the item, and it returns you a nice structure so that you can see the data that's being returned, so that you can work on your web services that will be consuming this data. So we have a transaction ID that comes across with every single one of the requests that come in. So a request comes in, we go ahead and we create a transaction ID for that. We tell you how many numbers of items, in this case, are included with inside here. So if we see that we have returned 62 items, and if we take a look down here, you can see that we created 62. I'm a programmer, so everything's zero-based. So that is 62, because we start with 0. And as you can tell, this is data from the SBO demo database. So as you can see, we have that information. You know, stuff like a time and a date, and the checksum. The checksum is included between, you know, after the BOM, all the data that's contained within inside of there. This is the checksum for that data. Just our versioning, whether or not we're using an encryption key to send data back and forth, or whether the data is compressed, such as in a zip file or a tar file, that would be shown here. So, and now this same type of data that you're looking at here can now be displayed in JSON. And so there's your JSON information. If we wanted it in XML, just type in XML, and your data is retrieved in the XML format. And so that covers how to, format the data differently as to how you want to, on the other end, consume that data coming in, JSON or XML. And mostly we support JSON. It's the easier type of format, and it's also a lot smaller than the XML data. So now let's get into, retrieving specific pieces of information. So if we wanted to, what we do is we add the question mark, meaning that we're going to start passing additional information to the web services to filter out some of the data or to add additional pieces of information such as warehouse, price list, batches, or serial items. So if we want to get a specific item, so we just do item, code, and then equals to whatever item that we're looking to get. So let's say it's our, boom. So then we can end up getting just that specific item that we're requesting on. Now, we also may wish to get additional information on that item. And let's say that we want to include the warehouse. So we can include the warehouse along with that information. Oops, sorry. Equals, yes. So now we get the warehouse information. If we want to also then include the price list, we go ahead and add the price list onto there. So we just added and include price list equals yes. And now we have our price list. So we have our item, our warehouse with our quantities on hand, and our price list. And again, the data that gets returned is defined with inside of the add-on that's inside of SAP GUI, so that you can select the fields in which get returned. So like the warehouse code, the on-hand, the available, the committed, and so on and so forth. Same thing with the price list and the batches. So this is how easy it is to retrieve the information from the web services. Now, when it gets to the filtering, which is really kind of cool, let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to add the filtering onto there. So we're going to filter item code like open single tick parentheses a percentage. So basically this looks the like will then be converted into like in the SQL statement, and this percent here will be converted into a percent sign, because as you can see after I hit the enter on this, things like percent are included as part of a URL and has a specific meaning to it. And in this case, it's doing percent 27, which is a single tick, and then it's closing with a percent 27, a single tick. So if we do it like this, we have an A percent or a wildcard, and we were returning 6 items, and those 6 items all start with A all the way down the row here. So if we want B, just add a B in there, and there we go. We have our anything that starts with the letter B. And of course you can filter again however you wish to filter out, but the same applies here. I believe this is a batched item, so let's go ahead and include batches with that. We do and batch include yes, and there you go. Now we have all the batches that are available for this item, the quantity, what warehouse they're in. So again, the data that gets returned for the batches can be filtered within inside of the SAP add-on that resides in the GUI. So let's just turn on a whole bunch of them and see what we get back. So let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and include batches, and let's include, I'm copying and pasting, let's include from the descriptions, and let's do, I mean, we're already seeing that, so let's do alternative items, and well, let's see if we have any ones that are made up of bill of materials, and run. So here we are retrieving, including batches, including price list, including alternative items, as you can see here. And like the A0002 is a 100% match, and A003 is a 90% match. You could have included the barcodes as well when we have multiple barcodes. But this gives you an idea of the data of the price list. This one has an alternative item as well, and how much it matches up to it. This one's a batched item, so we're getting batch information. Alternative items for this one. I think I've returned all the items that I have inside of the SBO demo database. It's very long. So, and here's one that's made up of a bill of materials. So we can see the quantity of the bill of materials that go into creating this product, or this item. So this is the type of information that you can retrieve through the web services to be consumed by whatever application it is that you are running on the other end. Let's make this a little bit, let's go back to one like this one so that we have, let's just do a couple of them. So let's do A. So now let's take a look at this in JSON format. And let's copy and paste that. Control A, Control C. Let's toss that into a formatter and a validator and process that. So you can see the information that gets returned, and you can see that it's well formatted with its arrays of items and warehouses. The count is just how, the loop that it's in, count 0, count 1, count 2, and then the items. And again, the data that gets returned is all driven within inside of the application, the add-on that goes inside of SAP, where you select the items or the fields inside the database that get returned. I believe I've covered just about everything I'd want to in this demo. Like I said, the information for what is passed or returned by the operation is all defined inside of here. So you can see the information that was passed and returned by the operation from here, and the flags and whether or not they're required to be passed along. I hope that this helps out. helps you out in understanding how the web services work and the power behind the web services. I thank you all for viewing, and bis später.